Andy from Descend Acheron. I'm saying that right, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Welcome to
Sure are.
Nightbreed. Awesome, awesome. How you doing,
Yeah,
man? How's
very
things?
well. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on, dude. So what's the
Yep.
go with the name? What does Acheron originate?
Acheron is from Greek mythology. It's something to do with where spirits go when they die or something. I'm not big on mythology myself. I'm more of a science guy. But yeah, it was the only name that myself and the guitarist Pete could sort of agree on that we didn't both mutually hate. So
Yeah.
band names I think is probably the hardest thing about being in a band, coming
Mm,
up with a band name. So
yeah.
yeah, so that's basically where we settled. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's always, man. Well, it's got a good ring to it, it's cool. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it sounds metal, you
Yeah,
know.
man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So how did it all begin? How did you guys first get together?
Yeah, well, Pete and I were in a band before, an Adelaide band called In the Burial, and yeah, sort of creatively and personality wise, it wasn't working that well with the rest of the guys, and so Pete and I basically were writing for a new project, and when we both decided to leave, we just sort of started concentrating on Descent to Akron, basically.
Mm,
So yeah, and then so that was a while ago now.
mm, mm.
Yeah, so we left In the Barrel at the end of 2013, and we'd already sort of started working on ideas before that happened. And then yeah, we wrote the whole EP in 2014, and we got Dave Haley from Psychroptic to come across and record drums in my studio.
Mhm.
Yeah, in September 2014, I reckon.
Cool.
And then yeah, so then we just kind of plugged away at it on and off for a while. I mean, trying to find a live drummer that could play Dave's stuff in Adelaide that wasn't already in 100 bands was hard. So that was the main reason why there was such a big delay between us recording the songs and actually getting the EP out originally. So
Oh,
but yeah, once we did get yeah, our lineup together, then COVID hit and we couldn't play live anyway. So yeah, ended
well,
up releasing the EP with only one live show. So
well,
that was a
yeah,
disappointment, but yeah,
yeah, that's
we're
rough,
back at
man.
it now though. So yeah,
Yeah, cool.
frustrating. It's frustrating.
Of course,
Mm,
man.
mm.
So, yeah, so the new single, "The Welcoming Void,"
Yep.
obviously, it's dedicated to Matthew Phillips. That must have been hard to write, yeah, like,
Yeah, that was yeah. It's nothing that yeah, being in death metal bands and stuff, I don't tend to write from a, a standpoint that's hugely personal.
mm,
Obviously, and not that I've ever written about blood and gore stuff or any of that sort of thing, but yeah, it's definitely not quite as personal as dealing with something like that. And yeah, we were already recording the song in the month or so before Maddie died, um, and then yeah, we didn't discuss the future of the band for quite a while. Um, it just didn't feel right, really, to
yeah,
do
sure,
anything without him because
yeah,
uh, if you've ever heard the EP, like his bass licks and leads and stuff are all through it, and it's a big part of our sound. Um, so yeah, we weren't sure if we would keep going, and then sort of after a few months, I kind of felt like I needed to purge, you know, and I kind of found the words that are in the song, and just screamed. uh, and yeah, I definitely felt better after. I was definitely a lot angrier at the situation when I written the song. If I was to write it now, it probably would be a little less angry.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
uh, yeah, I've had a lot more time to deal with everything now. But yeah, but we've been sitting on the finished song for since about July last year. It's been completely finished. The film clip thing's been pretty much finished since then.
Mm,
Just it hasn't felt like a good time to release it. Like it just, well, I don't think there is a good time to release it. Like it's not a song that I really feel comfortable like promoting. Going, hey, listen to my new song.
yeah, sure.
uh,
Yeah. Mm,
but we do need to move on still. And we do have a really good lineup now, and
mm.
we are moving forward. So I think if there is a time, it is now. So yeah, plus we've got shows coming up. So I just thought, yeah, let's just get it out finally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's cool. I like the whole bass outro as well. It's a nice touch, It's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was all Hodgie, like Paul.
Oh yeah,
He's he's been in so many amazing bands, and I've been
yeah, man.
lucky
Yeah,
enough to record a lot of them for a very long time. Beyond Mortal Dreams, one of my favorite bands ever. The fact that I've been able to work with them so many times is, it's a dream. Yeah, and Oath of Damnation as well, that he's in as well. And so he originally came on just to fill in because we got offered a couple of really good shows, and we kind of wanted to sort of it kind of almost seemed like it was going to be a send off for the band at first, but then it kind of ended up being, hey, let's keep going.
yeah.
But yeah, he wrote that outro, and I was like, dude, we're saying goodbye to our old bass player. What better way to do it than with one of the most beautiful pieces of bass ever written? I was like, it seemed really fitting. Yeah, so yeah, it's great.
That's cool. Yeah. So yeah, you got Doomsayer himself in your band. That's pretty cool. So
Yeah.
did he approach you to record earlier? Is that how you guys got together?
No, well, yeah, I started recording Beyond Mortal Dreams back in maybe 2006, 2007 or something like that.
Yeah.
The Demon and the Tree of the Dead, or actually a demo before the Demon and the Tree of the Dead EP. I think the Demon and the Tree of the Dead EP was my first paid recording. So, yeah, when I was very, very just starting out, like it was, yeah. Yeah, and I was working on the Beyond Mortal Dreams album with him when all this sort of stuff, the new Beyond Mortal Dreams album, which only just came out recently, when all this stuff happened. And I was literally, we got offered to play Blacken open air last year, which didn't end up happening. And Hodgie was actually with me, and he was just like, hey, do you want me to fill in on bass for this show? And I was like, because at that point I was thinking we'd just use backing tracks, and we would just, like Maddie's actual recorded song tracks. And yeah, so he just said, because we were just like, I think we were in the shop when I got there, and he, you want me? Oh, yeah, actually on the way to stuff, and he just said, you want me to fill in? And I said, yeah. And yeah, and then he's just a great fit for the band. Like, he's just so professional, can play the hell out of the songs. He's telling us how our songs go, like he is by far the most prepared musician in the band by a long shot, and also an amazing vocalist. Like, my favorite death metal vocalist. Like, his vocals are just brutal, and so having someone of that caliber being able to do vocals as well, I have to get him to play it down a little bit, because he's substantially better than I am. So, so I was just like, just ease it down a little bit, like, I don't want you to go full on, just kind of maybe 60%, just so I don't seem so not a vocalist by comparison. But yeah, it's awesome having him in the band though.
Yeah, that's cool. So are you recording and producing the Center Acheron? Is that
yeah, all that stuff's recorded, mixed and mastered by me, and produced. I do Pete and I are definitely very hands-on with the writing. Like, he'll sit down with his guitar and he'll just start jamming riffs, and I'll just like, here's something I like, and then we'll work on that idea, and we'll work on the songs together, and then even after they're recorded, we'll chop them up like crazy. The Welcoming Void, when it was originally recorded, the order of everything was completely different to what it is now. Like, so that was very much produced later. We tend to record stuff and then kind of work out how it's all going to fit together afterwards, which is not entirely ideal, but we'd never had a full band before. This is the first time we've ever had a full band. So yeah, the album is going to be very different. We've got a lot of our ideas for the new album. It's going to definitely be a much more of a group effort for sure. Like, Pete will write a bunch of stuff, and then we'll workshop stuff like crazy before we just go straight into recording things. So like a proper band.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah. The new single has this great section of like, clean vocals all over each other. It's a bit like Newer Enslaved or something, real big sounding. Like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cheers. Thanks.
Yeah.
I was kind of nervous about doing that, and I definitely don't want us to be the kind of band that just throws clean singing stuff in for no reason. I don't want to be like there's a lot of bands that just do it because, and I definitely don't want to be that. But it just really felt like that part needed something different.
Yeah.
And because there's not really anything like that on the EP, and I'm not a clean singer by any stretch. Like, I did singing lessons for years, and I wouldn't subject the world to me singing generally. But luckily got studio trickery and bit of Melodyne and stuff, and it came out better. Like, it's still really weird for me to hear my own clean vocals. Like, I'm not comfortable with it still, but you know, it is what it is, and people seem to like it. So yeah, it won't be like every song kind of thing, but it's just nice to have one more thing in the arsenal. Plus, Paul's a much better singer than me, like Hodgie. Like, so if there's going to be clean singing on the album, I think he'll probably take the bulk of that.
Okay, cool. Where you're at with the album? Like, you know, how far away is
we got about 200 riffs.
Okay, yeah.
So we got 4 pretty much completed songs,
and
and probably more than 200 riffs, to be honest. Like, when stuff started shutting down with COVID, Pete would just he was a little bit quiet with work, and he would just send a riff to me, and then I'd go, oh yeah, that's cool now, and then I'd just send him like a small chunk of one song, like a riff that I was really digging, like, you know, listen from 50 seconds to 55 seconds, and that's it. You know, and so he'd listen to that little bit of whatever song it was, and then he'd send back something based on that. It would be completely different, of course, but just kind of, you know, that vibe. And so we just did that back and forward for weeks and weeks, and he would send me probably 5 or 6 riffs a day, and we did that for ages. And so we've got all of that plus 4 completed songs pretty much. So yeah, we've got a lot of stuff. We're aiming to have the album pretty much written by the end of the year.
Cool.
So fingers crossed. We'll see how we go. But yeah, nice. It's going to be very varied. It's going to have a lot of different stuff. So even more varied than the EP was, for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm talking about other music. What have you been checking out lately? What are you listening to?
I went to Blood Incantation the other day. That was pretty sick.
That was a good show. Yeah.
That was amazing. It was nice to see the Enigma bar just like completely packed out on a Tuesday night. Like, it was, you couldn't move in there. It was amazing. So that was good. To be honest, I haven't been listening to heaps of metal lately. I record metal a lot, you know, and I'm in metal bands. And yeah, I've just been listening to real chill shit lately. Like, I've been listening to heaps of Phoebe Bridgers, like completely not even remotely metal. But when I do, it's got to be blast beat stuff. I don't really get metal that's not fast. I don't understand why people would listen to like Machine Head or something myself. It's not, you know, no offense to anyone it does. It's just not my bag. Like, it's just like, you know. So yeah, if it is metal, it's got to be something brutal, you know. So. So it hasn't been for a little while, but I'll get the bug again and it'll be back, you know. Sometimes it just takes a while.
Yeah, that's cool. No, I really like Phoebe Bridgers. I found it interesting that Metallica picked her for their, you know, Black Album anniversary. I was like, oh, there's something dark here that they fucking like as well, I guess. You know, like,
yeah. I saw an interview with her and Lars just out of nowhere. I was like, oh, that's interesting. But it's just completely different, you know. You know, my missus was over working in Sydney for a couple of years, and so I was just like, for the first, like, we've been together for 25 years. It was the first time that I was like basically a single parent, and she was over there. It was just like super weird, and I just was in this really bizarre headspace for a fair while there, and I've just found it just to really fit where I was mentally at the time, you know, and even now that she's back, and just I don't know, it's just basically, if I can't decide what to listen to, I'll just always just chuck her on.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, nice. So you guys got a couple of shows coming up, 11th and 12th of November in Queensland. The poster's got a big massive picture of Pinhead on the front. Are you much of a horror guy? Like, do you like your horror?
Yeah, I have Hellraiser shit all around my studio, actually. I didn't actually have anything to do with that flyer. I'm pretty sure that was Trav from Puncture Wound that did that. But I have a massive, just behind where the computer is, I have, big Pinhead and Dr. Shenard and the Lament configuration and a bunch of Cenobites hanging around and stuff. So I grew up on that. I remember seeing Hellraiser 1 and 2 back to back when I was maybe like 11 or 12 or something, and scared the absolute shit out of me. I didn't sleep for a week. And been kind of morbidly obsessed with it ever since. But definitely.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, don't watch heaps of horror movies anymore, but go. So
that's cool. Have you seen the new Hellraiser yet?
I have. Yeah, I watched it as soon as I could. It was better than I was expecting. Yeah, which is considering the last bunch of Hellraiser movies, that's after probably three, even three is pretty dodgy, but dodgy in kind of a funny way. But then it gets pretty bad after that, and so it definitely was substantially better than all of those later ones. But yeah, I don't know. I just wasn't even remotely scared. I know it's just because I'm too old and cynical now, and I don't care if they all die. But, but they're characters in a horror movie. They're all expendable, But yeah, it would have the Cenobite designs were kind of cool. Like the one with the stuff stretched over his face is kind of freaky. What a bit, just like it didn't seem as visceral as the original Cenobites. Like with Pinhead, you could see like splot, like the blood stuff. You could actually see it was wet and stuff. I was missing a bit of that kind of that visceral grossness that the early Hellraiser had. But like I said, definitely a step in the right direction.
Because I'm like, even the shit ones, I kind of like them still, But so it's nice to see some money behind it, That's kind of cool.
Yeah, exactly. With all the technology and stuff we have now, it seems weird that they just kept on making such shit. Like, there's no need. Like, you've got great writers. The caliber of writers these days, with all the amazing shows and stuff that are around these days. There's no need to put up with trash anymore. Like, obviously, trash is fun. But if you're trying to make a serious movie, you don't want it to be trash. Like, there's a difference there. Like, if it's a serious movie, it's a serious movie, So it was definitely fun.
Nice. That's cool. So after these next couple of shows, you guys just working away at the album? Like, is that the plan?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. So we're playing probably our last show in Adelaide for the year tonight.
Oh, nice.
Just about to head down to the Ningba bar now. So literally play these couple of shows, and it's just going to be straight into really nailing down these songs. Because it's been a long time. Like I said, me and Pete recorded the EP in 2014. I think Maddie put his bass down in 2015. So it's a long time ago, and we've been playing the same songs. We've been doing some covers. So up in Queensland, we'll be doing a death cover.
Oh, cool.
So just to spice things up. Something a little bit different. We played at Blacken as well. Just help keep it a little bit fresh for us. But we'll be straight into new stuff because it just as much as we love the EP, I think it's done. It's time to move on.
Fair enough. Yeah. Cool. Well, look, I'm looking forward to hearing the next single, and of course, everything that comes after. And thanks heaps for your time, Andy. It's been good, man.
Yeah, no worries. Cheers. Thanks for having me.
Cool. Have a good one, man. See ya.
Yeah.